Hello there. You seem like you're always the first chatter to arrive. So I'm curious, does it show up in I want to cheat death? I'm not sure what that means. Does it show up in your YouTube feed, this live stream? Do I have any good ideas? I don't know. I hope I have lots of good ideas. Oh, okay, notifications. That's like the top right, like the red things? Yeah, you're getting very philosophical to start the stream. I'm going to keep it focused on software stuff, mostly focus on my status report for why I didn't produce more videos this week. All right, we got 4 viewers. Four concurrent viewers, but 1 view. So my live streams have consistently been dropping off in numbers, which I guess I can't blame people too much. The last few have been kind of boring. Like the new shorts video, that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna drop down to. I have been doing it once a month, and I'm gonna try to go to. I have been doing it once a week, and I'm gonna drop down to once a month, and that'll give me more time for long form. But I think it'll also, even just having like, if I had a day or two more to do the shorts, then I can just make them better. And you know, that's what everyone wants. People want good videos, not a large quantity of low quality videos. All right, we've got a few more people in here. 5 concurrent. Yeah, live stream doesn't have a lot. Lots of people are asleep. Yeah, I think YouTube figures out, I guess, what that probably dictates what some of your fan base becomes. You just end up with fans that are in that specific time zone. Bradley, hello there. How's it going? I was feeling a bit lower energy tonight, so I also have an energy drink I've been starting. So now I can be like the more typical streamer that just is always drinking energy drinks and super wired and excited. Yeah, it's more fun if you've got. It's more interesting to watch people who are. It's a Red Bull. It's more interesting to watch people who are, super excited and wired. I have coffee in the mornings. All right, time is almost up. So I might as well get started. This is my weekly status report. If you're checking in on this, wondering why I did not produce any videos this week, so let me switch down here. So one of the things that I ended up working on was I'm in the process of trying to migrate from my current computer to I want to just reinstall. I'm on Ubuntu 20 right now, and I want to go to Ubuntu 24. So the goal is going to be to get my software, I just have so many packages and websites and stuff like that on my current machine. I want to get that running on the new Ubuntu 24. And part of it is those like different software versions, but also I've never really sat down. I have so many like configs and stuff that exist on my current computer, and I've been using it without reinstalling for so long that there's like all these things. There's all these things that are my fault that I really should have documented and written down. So part of the process is just making sure that I can rebuild the same setup on a fresh computer. So I have another like dummy computer. I'm just installing that on, and right now I've always wanted to get around to automating the process of setting up a Tomcat web server, because I have like 4 different like little mini websites for things that I use for some business stuff. So that was one of the things that I worked on, was just fully automating that process, so I can put in like a name of the service and ports and so forth, and then it just does everything automatically. That was, I think, my Monday task. And then I also got sidetracked with, it was one of those things that I thought, oh, this will be simple, so it won't take too much time. I will do some work on improving the image resizing on my blog that I have wanted to do since forever. So this is my blog, and I haven't really talked much about how I build and deploy the blog. Over time, I've kind of put quite a bit of work into this, even though I haven't gotten a lot of return out of it financially, which I might do a video on that subject specifically, because web content really seems to be falling off now. Like if I sit down and do a breakdown of like how much effort I put into YouTube versus how much effort I put into the blog, the amount of traffic I get from the blog is just like minuscule compared to video content now. Ever use Terraform for automating deployments? Or do you just use Ansible custom scripts? No, I have not used Terraform. Ansible. So I'm just using Maven. I forget exactly what Ansible does. If I recall correctly, it was it a there's Maven and something else, and I think it was Ansible was one of the alternatives. But yeah, there's Terraform. Is that an AWS thing? I can't remember. There's so many technologies that I need to get around to. Even stuff like Docker. I never really got into Docker at all, even though I did do one client job that I did some Docker stuff on, but there's too much stuff to keep up. Yeah, so the thing that I worked on a bunch was all of these images here. So if I do open image in new tab, so this is this here is a resized smaller image, and all these are source, like the actual source for all these is the full resolution, and for a lot of things on the blog, like the how to make a CPU. So the the overview image here, this one is, if I open that one, open image in new tab, it's a much smaller resolution, but then if I click on this, then it goes right into the large resolution, and I have a process to do that automatically. So I have like a custom markup for when I write an actual blog article, and I can specify what the type of image, so JPEG versus PNG, depending on which is get for like images. Obviously, PNG is for like anything with text, anything with smooth graphics. PNG gives you much better results. It gives you a really nice looking result, but with a small file size. And then anything that I think like real information, like any real world pictures, like JPEG makes way more sense than PNG. So that way I can just specify what I want the blog to render, and then it renders both of them automatically. And so historically, the code that controlled that was just it was an external call to the convert command, and then also had a whole bunch of external shell commands that it would pipe out to call the identify command a bunch of times, and it was really inefficient to get the dimensions of the image and then do a bunch of math on that. And the code for that was really, really terrible. And it's one of those things that, because when I go to migrate, the version of the convert command is different. And so when I rebuild the blog, it's in my source control, it's going to detect a change in all of the files for the entire web page. So I thought, I may as well take this opportunity to figure this out, and that way when I migrate and when I rebuild, hopefully that'll decrease the chance that every single object in the blog will change, because I use when I do a rebuild of the actual static assets that are then deployed, I like to be able to just do git status and see no changes, because that way I know that there isn't some weird thing broke, and then like a whole bunch of, because I have like almost 200 posts now, I don't want the old posts to be all broken, and if they are broken, then I'll see that in the git diff. Terraform is an infrastructure as code platform. Just helps build out various infrastructure. Sets up networking, uses Ansible to configure the machines. Is it part of an AWS thing, or is it like a standalone? Is it like an open source project, or? Yeah. So where did my time go? Why did this take so long? So I thought, this won't be too bad. What I'm going to do is, it's not too difficult to just write a Java program that resizes an image. So I, just found some code that did that, and then I started trying to convert my my setup to use this. And of course the image data itself changed, but then I also had a problem where it was rebuilding like totally different files that didn't exist previously. And it came down to in the image file name, I think I have it that way right now. I have the letter Q there that appears there for like right here I have right now I just have QN if it can't find the quality, and as part when it was building the image URLs, a bunch of the URLs were all were completely different because it was not able to find the quality of the image. And previously, when I was using the convert command, I guess that's part of the whole image magic set of utilities. Image magic would set a quality attribute. I don't know if it's an EXIF tag in the JPEG, but it was in some way it was able to set the quality, and then later I could query the image for the quality, but it wasn't finding that when I went through the JavaScript route. But it was able to do that only when only if I set the quality to 100%, and then it would actually maintain the quality attribute, and wasted a ton of time on that. Just thinking like, oh, well, I'll just do this one extra little thing to get this to work, and I was like, okay, so I'll have to do a little bit more work to like find the metadata and then write the metadata. And then I found all these like Stack Overflow posts. So here's how you change EXIF metadata in JPEGs in Java. And then I found these libraries that don't work. And then some people came to the conclusion that like you can't do an image change and change the metadata in one pass. You have to like use two separate passes. You have to like save the file, and it just ended up being a huge headache. Standalone, made by HashiCorp, but a lot of people use it for AWS deployments. Yeah, HashiCorp. When I was looking into some AWS stuff recently, I remember there was I think it was casually mentioned in some of the AWS docs where I think they even in the AWS docs it said you can't do this directly in AWS, but you can use this external third-party thing. And I think that was what they mentioned. It said HashiCorp, because I guess I don't even know what they do, but from what I gathered, it seems like they're like a leading contributor to a bunch of like AWS augmentation stuff or scripts. And I know there's a whole ecosystem and marketplace around like tools and software that people have written specifically for the AWS ecosystem. And if I had more lifetimes, I would learn some of that stuff. Yeah, in the end, I came to the conclusion that I could probably figure out how to do this, but this entire thing I was relying on, like the quality attribute in this EXIF tag, I can't even find. There's even a tool. I think it's actually called EXIF tool or something, and you can use that to query an image to find the attributes. And I couldn't even find out how to get the quality out of that with the EXIF tool. So I thought, you know what, if this is not well supported, like I want to build robust software that's going to work along into the future. So I just abandoned that approach, and I started putting the size in the image instead, and refactored a bunch of other stuff and abandoned that. And then, of course, the another snag was the convert and identify commands do kind of work with SVG files, but I have maybe like 5 or so SVGs in my blog, and I was like, oh geez, so I have to have this special case for image size detection and resizing specifically for SVG files. So I thought like, maybe I should just go back into my blog and reconvert those SVGs into PNGs to save me the effort. But in the end, I did find some library, Apache Tika, can do some stuff with SVGs, but I also found out it's not a very good library, and there's not a lot of there's a whole bunch of it seems like it's based on a very old standard. A lot of them, apparently the actually I'm sorry. There's Apache Tika and Apache Batik. I think that's what it's called. Apache Tika is for identifying file types. So I had to use that to figure out what types, what different MIME types the files, the images had, to process them differently. And it was Apache Batik, I think it was. Apache Batik was the library I had to use for the SVG files. So I used that for for converting the SVG to a PNG, and also for figuring out the size of the SVG. And unfortunately, the size that it calculates for SVGs, I tried a simple way first. I tried two simple ways first with that library, and it would just get like random, like internal null. It wasn't like null pointer exceptions. It was saying like the bounding box is not set, because I guess this Batik library is only meant to work with well-formed SVG files, but if you have like real SVG files, it's not smart enough to figure out the size, which is annoying because the identify command was perfectly well able to handle this. But for one of the SVGs, it brings back a size of 0, and then for the other ones, it brings back a size, but it's off by like 10% or something. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I was just like, you know what, I'll just leave this as a bug for now. But it basically works. So it's one of those things. It's one of those cases where like I would like to just not do this work, but in order to make it a little bit less brittle than it already was, I had to spend a ton of time just to support this, like more edge case. But eventually, I was able to get that all done this week. And one of my conclusions from this was that image processing support for Java is not as good as I would have kind of hoped or expected, because that Apache Batik library was apparently it has like a W3C library for SVGs embedded within it in the jar file, but it's like some early 2000s piece of software, so it's like very there's a lot of like weird stuff in there, because I guess SVGs are part of the whole like XML standard, like the early internet stuff. So there's a lot of really weird things you can do with rendering the SVGs. You can create like a special user agent and pass that in, because I guess that makes sense. Back in the day, a different user agent value, like different browsers, would probably have a different rendering for SVGs. And I'm now down. Next update item is I'm now down to one more remaining core utils command and article. So I've just about finished the article for the num fmt command, and I'm the last. Yeah, everything is hot garbage. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I was quite disappointed that like something so fundamental just doesn't seem to be at all supported in Java. And it looks like if you really want to do SVG stuff, like you have to learn like all the details of SVGs, and like you have to basically treat it as like your own XML document. So if you wanted to find your size and width and stuff, you'd have to like have your own special function that handles all the different edge cases of malformed SVG documents and stuff. Absolute state of IPv4 carrier grade, man. Yeah, I took some networking courses on Internet Protocol, and I thought like, oh, I know how this works, but it's unbelievably complicated. So much like legacy stuff and all kinds of like stuff I memorized about how like if something is not in spec, or when something's behaving the way it's not supposed to be. I'm still learning about new protocols all the time. Every time I get a new router, there's some new like weird. It's always with these service discovery things. They keep inventing new service discovery things, but then they have insecurities. So then they introduce new security measures to block out the things, these new service discovery things, because they're full of, they're all getting hacked. But then that makes it so you can't discover the services. So then people invent new service discovery things. So now we just have like an infinite number of service discovery things, all with vulnerabilities. So I have one command remaining, and that is the B2sum command. So that's the Blake2 message digest algorithm. I think the energy drink is working. I felt like I was going to fall asleep earlier, but I feel I'm able to speak fluently. But I guess it doesn't look like it's helping the viewer count. I've only got 3 concurrent viewers now. That's the lowest I've ever had for a sustained period. Yeah, so, and as I mentioned, I'm going to go down to 1 shorts video per month of the favorite command series. Hey, I'll let go, it just jumped up to 6. Yeah, so once I do that, that's going to free up a lot more time. So I guess lately I've been working on, this other migration stuff. And so I have been catching up on the shorts, but every time I catch up on the shorts videos, then it's time to release that video, and it's a new week, and I got to do another shorts video. So 1 per month. I think I'll be able to make higher quality shorts, and that'll give me time for more of the long form. And of course, I'm back to doing a bit of client work, so I did some of that this week. And this was the first week where let me move that down a bit. Yeah, so this was the first week where I started to think about getting back into the long form content creation. So I've like I said, after the next video, next shorts, I will have finished all what is it? I think it's 123 or something core utils commands. Depends which version of the library you're using. But once I finished all those, then I'd probably do some some long form wrap up videos, just to kind of reflect on them. And there's a couple that I could do that are I think would perform well. I was looking at bootp MTNS turn servers. It's annoying for sure. Oh, are you're saying that in relation to all the the networking, the router stuff? Yeah, there's so many protocols that it's just so many protocols and technologies, and I mean it's like you're swimming in an ocean, because you have to realize, no matter how smart you are, there's thousands of other extremely smart people who are really smart, really motivated, who are just cranking out software and frameworks and inventing protocols, and it's just it never ends. UDP port hole punching for inbound traffic. Absolute hot garbage everywhere. Yeah, the whole NAT hole punching and stuff. That's one of those. It's quite a few times I've been wondering, how could you host a service behind a NAT, on a residential or something? like these peer-to-peer networks. I always keep wondering, like, how do these work? And every time I try to read the Wikipedia page on the topic, or actually try to understand this, it's like, oh, it's always implementation defined, and there's 5 different variations on how to do it. It's really, I mean, that's like an entire career niche. You could be an engineer that focuses all of your expertise just on like packet hole punching to traverse networks and stuff. Isn't that the promise of UPnP? I'm not 100% sure. I remember what that is. I thought UPnP was something for like a service discovery on your land. I could be wrong, but I remember when I see that in my router, I think it's like, oh, it's one of those things I have to turn off because it's probably got vulnerabilities in it. Tailscale blog, how NAT traversal works. Nice write-up. Yeah, actually, I think I recall seeing one really big detailed post on it on Hacker News. That might have been it. It's one of those things where I think one or two people who really understand it have written down, a massive wall of text on how it works. Yeah, it almost feels insurmountable sometimes. Just gotta remind myself to pick a topic, focus on it, till I feel confident in it. Yeah, I think being an expert in this domain is it's like becoming an expert at reading books or something like that. If you know how to read, if you're well read and you know how to read well, you can pick up any book and read it and do something useful with that knowledge. But just because you know how to read doesn't mean you've read every book. It's not enough hours in a day. Universal plug and play. All software has vulnerabilities. Choose the ones you're most comfortable with and proceed. Okay, next item was, so I mentioned I'm thinking about making a YouTube video. So the next one that I'm thinking of, so today is June 1, and if we get to June 5, by June 5, I'll probably be done the next shorts video. So then that'll put me at basically being, totally done the core details. So then I can start to think a bit more about the next video. And I think for the next video, I will do one of the retrospective ones, the financial analytics retrospective ones, because I think this I haven't really done. I've talked about that on the live streams, but I didn't do an actual long form video on showing the massive increase that I got from the how to make a CPU video, because that video made over $4,000, which was an awesome, very well needed infusion of cash for keep me alive. And it's demonstrated to me that maybe this whole YouTube thing is something that actually could grow a lot more in the future, and it's one of the reasons why I think it probably makes sense to slow down on some of the shorts and then to invest some of that time and energy into more long form content. So for that video, I'll go into the shape of the revenue curve. So at the peak of the how to make CPU video, I was getting like $500 a day for like a couple days, which is awesome. That'd be amazing if I could get that kind of revenue every day from YouTube. But I think today was it was quite low. It was maybe only like $12 or something like that. So it spiked way up, and then right now it's kind of just plateauing down to almost nothing again, which makes sense because I haven't published any long form videos. But it's interesting how it didn't go. I did 30 days of videos, and then it didn't really do very much. And then it was only after I stopped, that's when the traffic really took off. yeah, there's lots of content that I could do, lots of stuff I think that people might want to see. And if you guys have suggestions for what you would like to see, then I can maybe also, like, if any of you are interested in starting a YouTube channel or just interested in like the analytics side of it and stuff like that, give me some suggestions, and I'll think about stuff you want to see me focus on in the analytics, and I'll and try to incorporate that into the video. So I can probably go back to the during my 30 days of videos, I had been going back to all the videos I was making and seeing like how many views they were getting, like what the shape of the curve looked like, how many CPMs and stuff like that. So I'll probably go back and revisit some of those videos just to see like how they perform now, because I think it's the oldest one now would be as much as like 90 days. And when I was reviewing those at the time, some of them only would have had like maybe 5-10 days. NGL, I found you through the CPU video like 20 minutes ago. Then checked your channel to find more and saw you were live. Huh. Yeah, the how to make a CPU video. That video is that one. It had been up for over 2 years, and it got maybe it was like 60,000 views in the first 2 years, and then after I started publishing more content, then I guess YouTube found that older video and said this must be the best one, and now it has it's got like 4.1 million. It just kind of took off like crazy. It was getting like hundreds of thousands per hour for a little while, and it's still my top video right now. I think almost all my ad revenue is coming from that video at the moment. I will say the red hat fedora is a good look. Yeah, it's a cheap hat I bought off eBay. I'll probably a lot of people say it looks really cringe, but I kind of like the cringe. Autocompletes would be a really cool topic to approach. I'm not sure what you mean by the autocompletes as a topic. Like the development of them as a software topic, or? Bash autocompletes and other CLI time savers. Yeah, I would say I don't know a ton about that topic. I know that you can. This is one of those things that's hard to learn about, but let me get this. Yeah, I guess Fedora doesn't have readline on it. I'm not sure what I would check for the man page, but I know readline is a one of the things in Bash. I know from what I recall, Bash can be compiled with readline or without it. But readline is one of the things I remember for one project for my. If you guys saw my custom Linux distribution, I patched readline so I could actually hook into some of the autocomplete stuff and track what people were autocompleting. Man 3 readline. Yeah, I'm on Fedora. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this is compiled and set up and installed, but if I was to dig into autocomplete. That's one of the places I look. But other than that, it's one of the things that I actually don't know too much about. It's funny that you joked about my use case, zombie apocalypse purposes. I'm not sure. Not sure when I joked about that. Not 100% sure, but zombie processes would be a fun video for sure. Yeah, that's something I have to research. It's not something I'll probably mostly do videos about like what's kind of in my mind. There's so much stuff to know that and everything takes so much time to research. I find even there's like stuff that I know because I learned it and then I wrote about it. But as soon as I get away from a topic, like back when I was doing more like operating system development stuff, that would be a better time for me to do zombie process related stuff. I recall seeing zombie processes specifically in. Remember when you have like an Apache web server that's under load, you'll get a bunch of zombie processes. I forget exactly what they were. I think if I recall correctly, they're just processes that have terminated, but there's not enough CPU available to clean up the resources. If I remember correctly. The FIFO syndrome, quick to learn and quick to forget. Yeah, there's it's almost the older I get, the more I feel like my attention is kind of like I'm looking through a keyhole. Like there's so much stuff that I know, it's in my mind. I just need to like kind of squint through it and like remember it to remember what I know. As long as you keep the bare bones in your head, that's all you'll need. Yeah, I find, doing, the fact that I'm doing so much like content creation is actually, works out in my favor for a lot of stuff, because I find very often like I'll forget how to do something, and more I start Googling stuff, especially it's been, there's been quite a few topics like doing one of the every core utils command. That's I think I've referred back to a bunch of even the simple ones like the du command. There's a bunch of times I'll want to find like what is the 5 largest files in this directory or something, and then so I'll just Google like du command and my blog, and then because I have like a one-liner on there, and so it's great. I just and these blog posts actually don't get that much traffic, but I regularly refer to them. On the Apache side, that may or may not have been related to keep lives. Read line is picky. Some programs pipe input strange, so it's easier to do while read. Connect other lines with your own formatting. Oh, and the CPU made a joke about why you need. Oh, in the CPU video, you made a joke about why you needed to make your own CPU. In the how to make a CPU video, or in the was it that in the comment section, or? Actually, maybe that was in a live stream or something. I do kind of remember that. Yeah, probably in a previous live stream I mentioned like how society's kind of like the zombie apocalypse now. Pardon me for being new here. What is your main area of expertise? That's a good question. So my major is software engineering. I did graduated from University of Waterloo, did 6 internships. I worked for Amazon Web Services. I built a piece of software called Amazon Redshift when I was there. Then I did an internship at NVIDIA, and then immediately after I graduated from university, decided to start my own one-person consulting business. Because I said, if I work as hard for myself as I did for these big companies, then I'll become way more financially successful. And so far, that has not happened at all. And I've kind of just barely managed to stay alive for the past. Actually, you know what? It's almost the 10-year anniversary of when I incorporated my business. Curious as to what type of work your clients want you to do for them and how you approach it. Also, how do you market things to your customers? I would say, like, increasingly in the last few years, I've kind of just not marketed, yeah, I think you've seen some of my videos on like consulting and why I no longer consider it viable, but I tried a bunch of stuff to market myself back in the day, and I tried like basically just like start from scratch, just try everything and see what works. So for a while, I actually just went to the industrial park, and I literally like walked into businesses, and I would just chat up people that try to talk to the owner. And back then I was seeing like what I did for a while is I would try to find businesses that did not have a website, because at that time I was like, basically every company needs a website in this day and age. So I'd find companies that didn't have a web page, and then I would go in and say like, hey, I noticed you don't have a web page, and you thought about getting one. And I thought that I could do like some custom website development like that. And I was also kind of just exploring to see what kind of what kind of general needs these people had, and learn about their business and stuff like that. When you like, so I was actually open to anything. So hosting it. Back in those days, I think like a lot of what these people really needed, if they needed a website, was just a basic like WordPress thing, and there were already some like free services that did that. But then there's also like I did a couple. One of the things I did that was a paid thing was I actually kind of developed and worked on it was like a custom WordPress theme for someone that brought in like $3,000 or something, and it would that's not a that was enough to pay the rent for a couple of months, but it was not a very successful engagement. I don't think I didn't learn a lot from it, and it was the client was the client. I also had like multiple clients for that one. I reached out to another. So the way I got that was I reached out to another local consulting business that did custom website stuff, and I asked them if they had any work that they would subcontract to me. And then they introed me to some friend of theirs, and it wasn't clear to me. I was like, okay, so are we all working together on this? But actually, what they wanted was they were directing me to him. But there was some other guy, and then the first people didn't want to be involved at all. They wanted to pass me off to this other person, and this other person, he was doing work for some other client. So like. He was the developer, but he was basically just giving me the work. And when we went to sign the contract, I first signed the contract with him, but then immediately after we signed the contract, it's like, oh, actually we should sign the contract with the other person who was like his client. And it was just this person didn't have very good business etiquette, and it was just really confusing. Let's see, I missed a couple comments. Okay, I saw that one. I've gone total geopolitical mad today. Please forgive me. I have no voice. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do paperwork, work from site from scratch, web app, can access Pro language. Is it okay, but if license or certificate for even though it's private? I think there's a communication issue there. I don't know what you mean by that. Can you make a video about ARM chipset? Also RISC and CISC. I'm not a good person to make a video on that. I'm not an expert at that. Average volume level is low, and there's no noise gate. It is echoey in this apartment. Yeah, I guess I'll. Is it? To me, it doesn't sound super bad. Is it worse than it normally is in the audio? But yeah, back to your question about like marketing yourself and stuff. I tried a bunch of stuff to see what works. So I did the door-to-door salesperson. I also made made flyers and then mailed them out. Yeah, audio in your old place was better. This is I've always been here. Low volume with base static. All right, I'll leave it as is. I don't want to touch it and break it or something. Yeah, so I tried just mailing out flyers just to see if that would do anything. The fan noise is a bit high. Face cam, delay behind your voice, a third of a second. Yeah, I'm not sure what I can do about the delay. There's probably not anything I can do about the delay. Yeah, there's my main computer, like my actual fast desktop computer, my laptop I actually do work on is over there, and the fan is just like blaring. As soon as I do any kind of work on it, it's super loud. So it's if that I have like another old computer here. That's the one that is on the screen. But if I was actually using that one, it would be even worse than it is. Yeah, I think I'll probably. What I really need is I need more computers. I need more money so I can buy more computers, and then I could just separate all this stuff out a bit more. It's hard marketing your stuff. By purpose use Pro language provide a lifelong. It's crazy how it works. No, the one in tech actually likes to read logs. Okay, if you've got some software for rendering the logs, listen to playback later, you'll hear it. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna talk closer to the mic. Is this better? I try to keep a bit away from the mic, so if I'm too close to it, then I'll smash into it and then make a bunch of noise. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, use a program called NVIDIA Podcast. Actually, I forget if my my main laptop has a video card. Since I'm on Linux, I don't know. Linux always seems to have issues with actually taking advantage of the video card in a laptop. It's one of those things to put on the to-do list. That perfectly cuts out anything that's not a voice. Does that work on Linux? Yeah, I appreciate the points about the audio, because like ultimately, if people, I think like just like having that, last little 1%, it really does help, because it, over time, if you want to be the big streamer, you gotta have good audio. If your audio is crap, people just come and then leave, never come back. Okay, would not do stream myself better. Not sure, probably have to fiddle with the drivers for Linux a bit. Yeah, it's I've looked at like Twitch streamers and stuff, and there's a lot of Twitch streamers that like they're not streaming to that many people, but when I look at their setup and like how much time and effort they've invested in like all their links and icons and overlays and stuff like this, there's a lot of work. It's like a years long practicing process of perfecting your broadcast and perfecting your audio, and it's a lot of money too. Like you can do good quality stuff with less money, but it ends up being more work and more difficult. Audio is people are not forgiving about bad audio. But yeah, so I'll talk. There's lots more I can say about the marketing myself. So I also I tried going around to networking events. So I went to I'm in Kitchener here, Kitchener-Waterloo area, and I'm actually not sure how things are now. I've been so busy with other stuff lately, I haven't even looked. Well, actually I have looked to see if there's events, and it kind of seems like since COVID, all the events, all the like, say 2014 or so, that's when I started. 2015, that's when there were tons of meetups around about business and software stuff, and I used to go to these meetups and in the very least just for like networking, to meet people in the community and meet other business people, and I just go to like see what events are on today, and there's almost always some kind of event, so I just made a habit of going to all of them, and for the most part that I did not get any business out of that, except I did end up I actually ended up doing a part-time gig teaching at a local college. I happened to meet the chair of engineering there, and that's how I got onto doing that. And then from that, one of the other professors there, I networked with him, and he was working with a startup, and I ended up doing some other contract work for that startup. So the whole like people say networking is super important, and I have to agree. Just like if you can know a lot of people, be kind of on a if you can be on like a conversational basis with a lot of people, that I find like when I go in my network, like talk to people in my network and get referrals from people in my network, that those were always the way more successful things that led to actual contracts and business. But of course the other stuff is like I said, I went to many meetups, and I was kind of almost to the point where I thought like this is a waste of time. But eventually I did actually get one bit of business. I mean, technically it's not really a consulting contract, but I did do that through my business. I just sent them invoices, and then as a result of that, I networked with more people in the community, and it's just adding a few people to my LinkedIn connections, and so next time if I am super desperate, I have a larger list of people I can try to get referrals from. Audio engineers in the 70s knew the magic of analog processing. Yeah, analog processing I think is pretty underrated. There's a lot of like stuff that was discovered and developed in the 1950s about like signal processing and stuff, and a lot of that knowledge seems to be kind of forgotten now. People don't, kids these days don't appreciate the power of analog processing. But there's still a lot of like niche applications where analog domain stuff is like really, really important. Stuff like instrumentation amplifiers, and like this, you can buy massive books that are like that thick on just on how instrumentation amplifiers work, and it's all like analog math and stuff. Yes, network communicate. Give own opinions, don't insult. Just try to be diplomatic. Yeah, it's so a lot of those events sometimes will have like drinks and alcohol and stuff like that, and it's important not to make a fool of yourself. Provide management services for customers, places such as camera, NVR, Strive, just like VPNs and stuff. Interesting. I'm the type of guy that would put Windows 11 Pro on cassette. Interesting. Yeah, I guess you can modulate it on there. You can store data any way possible. Let's see, what were some other ways I did marketing? One of the things that someone suggested was the blog. And that's actually why I started the blog. And I thought that maybe if I could write some good articles and just get a whole bunch of traffic. The original thing I started doing was I just wrote about what I know, technical stuff. And I didn't really take it seriously, because I thought the blog was just a web page to have up to illustrate to people that like you're still active, and I figured they just go to the blog and check the dates and see like, oh, is this person still in business? I wrote a couple of articles on like signed and unsigned integers, and those got picked up on Hacker News, and that was when I realized like, maybe I could actually build this into something more. So that's when I started doing more of the blog content creation, and so the goal was to get on the front page of Hacker News. And I had quite a few. I had some success early on getting on the front page of Hacker News repeatedly, but that never led to any business, and technically still really hasn't. I don't think I've ever had anyone say like, oh, I found you through this blog post, and your expertise in whatever impressed me, so I want to hire you based on this blog post. Even though I have like millions of views now, and what it kind of almost seems like the market, from my perspective, there's more of a market in for my expertise for like other programmers, people who just want to learn about stuff, and this kind of thing. And I think it's probably going to be more of that, because we're going to have more and more programmers who are lots of people are getting laid off now and stuff like that. The job market's getting more competitive, and so I think even just like the illustrative stuff about like how to make a little bit of money off of YouTube. People want to know how to do that, and especially doing it in a domain like programming. concurrent viewers went up a little bit, but I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Should I call it tonight? I think I've probably been streaming about an hour or so. I think the energy drink worked. I think I feel like I could continue talking more. I feel like my thoughts and ideas are flowing a bit more freely. I used to read the Commentator every day, but things drastically changed 2018. Yeah, I read it quite a bit. I don't know if it might have even been during the pandemic. I've also found that it seems like well, actually it's been ever since the AI stuff started coming out. Yeah, there's the traffic on web content seems to like have gone down, and it almost seems like the overall like decrease in traffic from search on my blog seems to have coincided with like a decrease in, I don't know, I don't want to say a decrease in quality, because when I go there it does kind of seem like the same old thing, but it almost seems like I don't know, it is maybe it's just my behavior. I don't check it as much. I'm much more frequently I get a lot more of my information from YouTube, and the internet as a whole is changing pretty rapidly. Even sites like Reddit and stuff, and there's more and more like weird stuff I find everywhere. There's more like on Reddit, there's a subreddit I read, and someone posted this big long post there about how someone they're saying like they found the site on they found the subreddit on some other site, and they were not actually involved in the topic, and they were just posting like stuff to agitate people and to start arguments and stuff like that. And then people were like, oh yeah, I suspected this, like, so you know, people here are like bots and inauthentic people, and then it got a lot of interaction, and then that post got like banned and removed, and there's just, you know, more people are accusing people of being inauthentic or like bots or like AI and stuff, but there also is more AI everywhere. You're a great man. Humor, your videos comes across well. No, thank you for the kind words. Niche communities are in. Yeah, I think that's definitely it, and I think I mentioned this in previous videos, but I think especially as AI becomes more of a thing, people are going to seek out sources of information that are like hard, like people want news and information and interaction with humans. I think AI still has a place, but like, you know, there's certain things right now where you think, oh, I would like the answer from ChatGPT, but you don't want that for everything. When you want to, you know, get someone's opinion, if you want to get an opinion, a real opinion, like, is ChatGPT a good thing to ask for this question? You want to ask that to a human, not to another AI. And so I think people as like the text, old school text web gets increasingly, you know, lower quality, I think people are going to shift more towards stuff like YouTube, live streaming, all that kind of stuff, Twitch. Exactly if Keep blog is yours and assistant Keep. It's AI, collaborators, post the same. Yeah, not sure what you mean by that statement. Yeah, AI is really affecting static web content. Yeah, I think that I think the reason Google has gotten so bad, and a lot of these other search engines, is because it's not because they don't see value in the content, it's because it's so easy to like game the system. I think it's almost like Google is kind of admitting that they basically lost the battle against like SEO spam and stuff. And I was even reading, actually I think it was on Hacker News today, someone was saying that well, this is an ad, but I guess it's a related concept. Someone tried to get concert tickets, and then they ended up clicking on an ad that was it was imitating like another a website for a museum or something, and then they ordered tickets to this supposed museum, but it was actually a fraud, and then they like started making charges on their credit card. Yeah, it's a regurgitation soup. Yes, I mean some of the AI snippets and stuff are pretty bogus. There was a few videos circulating the last few days about like Google's AI assistant search thing, where you search. Someone was search for like, is it okay? Is it good for you to eat rocks? And then Google's AI was like, yes, it is good to eat rocks. You should eat one. According to geologists, you should eat one rock per day. And then another one was like, I'm feeling depressed. What should I do? And then it's like, one Redditor suggested jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. And this is like, Google's production service. It's amazing that they're like, they're supposed to be a professional company, but this stuff is actually they're actually serving this stuff to the public. It's embarrassing. Public forums are just bots at this point. You have to feed the AI somehow. One thing, I mean, there's so many crazy things going on with AI stuff now. I think the first level is like realizing that there's so many bots, and then like reacting to that and be like, oh, well, you don't want to trust this because it's misinformation and it's bots and stuff like that. It's AI. But I found what is even more like problematic, and it's going to have more an impact, is that everyone mistrusts everything. And even I think probably some of these are joking, but like a few people have accused my shorts videos of being AI generated, and for the record, I have not used AI in any of my my content creation, and I probably won't, just because like the AI quality stuff is not that good. But the risk of getting like if I do get flagged for something, then it's Google's gonna kill the channel, because there were a bunch of AI channels that were doing like millions of views, but then Google picked up on the fact that these are AI, because people started uploading like lots of them, and they all started getting killed off. So I don't want that to happen to my stuff. But the fact that like especially like some of the blog posts, the shorts videos, I've been translating those into the blog posts, but the advantage is the benefit that I get from writing those blog posts now is so low, and like even though they're authentic, written by me by hand, people are probably just going to still accuse me of like using AI to write them anyway. So and they barely get any traffic. So I mean that creates some kind of concerns long term about like who's going to write all the blog posts for things, and who's going to want to actually do this work manually, when even if you do it correctly, you don't get paid. And then people are like, oh, this is AI generated garbage. Geologists recommend eating at least one rock per day. Yeah. Really, it's really creating a flatter internet. Everything's more samely and less dynamically substantive. On AI, Pico Voice is really looking interesting. The compression algorithm's wild. I haven't looked up that. Bots not give access. Right, lifelog. Had no use in. People can tell with language at the moment. Sometimes, I mean, I think I've definitely noticed people who are overconfident about their ability to detect AI, and like psychologically, you have to realize like the impact of being dismissed or accused of being an AI. Like if one of you in chat, if I'm like, oh, you're just an AI, and then I ban you right now, like when you know, from my perspective, that's an easy thing to do. And if I actually think you're AI, then I won't think twice about that. But from your perspective, that's that hurts. Your humanity is being dismissed. Yeah, dissolving public trust is definitely the biggest safety hazard to be concerned about in the near future. It's already well underway. Yeah, that really is. Like I've mentioned in my past sagas that I'm getting rent-evicted right now, and I've been talking to some of the other tenants for the first time, like to meet and try and fight this rent eviction process. And